And welcome, race fans, to another big block modified, big action pack night of racing at the Grove. Thank you for joining in on our broadcast. If you caught the last race broadcast that we just did with the dirt street stocks at the Grove, it was a hell of a show that they put on. Good racing. The track did not disappoint. Did prove to be a challenge to some of the drivers, but again, they came through in stunning fashion, to say the least. But as previously stated, we are here for the Nerd TV 35 here at Over the Limit Racing League in the Super DIRTcar Big Block Modified Series here at Williams Grove Speedway in Mechanicsburg. Again, also just known as the Grove. Going to be a heck of a race. If it's anything like last week, it is going to be a lot of action, a lot of good racing. As always, on behalf of Nerd TV and Nerditudes, I'm Dustin Loxton, also known as Ballistic. Alongside me in the booth, going to be helping me call all the action and all the shots, is the legend, the myth, the man, Mr. J. Stan, Jeremy Stanley. How you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Glad to be here. Should be fun to watch these big blocks. Go ahead and run this Martinsville style track. Looking forward to it.
And as you had stated, it's we had talked about this in the dirt street stocks, and it posed a very difficult situation just with the dirt street stocks. I mean, those cars alone were carrying upwards of about 100 mile an hour going off into the corners 1 and 3. At this track here, again, it's a very flat track, very long straight. So again, it's a lot of runway space to sit here and pick up a lot of speed in those cars. And typically, these cars are lighter as well, so a lot is going to go into this. That means these cars are going to be flinging it into turns 1 and 3 at a lot higher of a speed on a track that is essentially flat. What are we expecting to see tonight, Jeremy?
My expectations on that street stock race were low to midline, but whoever conditioned the track for tonight's race changed up the surface a little bit. I don't know what changed, but even in the street stocks, that line about halfway through the main race pushed up near the wall. And then some of the drivers have taken that notepad and looked over it, even in practice and with the big blocks here. You practice there running up against the wall early. So I expect high line early in this event, which might leave some extra grip there on the very bottom late in the race, but didn't expect that early on in the street stocks, and really now I'm starting to think that the high line is going to be the dominant position early on.
And I'm going to tend to agree with you on that one there, just watching some of the practice laps early on before we went live in the broadcast, because we get the opportunity to watch some of these drivers here, kind of get a feel of some of the racing action that we're about to partake in, calling all the shots here. It seemed like that I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say it's going to be that mid to high line early on. I did see a number of drivers take that midline or enter the corner in on that midline and then drift to that high line, possibly in a diamond fashion to come back off down to the mid out of the corner. So I see the mid to high line being probably the dominant line, like you had stated early on. But that's going to pose for some real crazy racing towards the end, because it's going to open up, hit the track here, and we are getting ready to start gridding.
Yeah, you can see it in the surface of the corners there. All the dirt's bundled up in the middle of the track. The low and high line are swept up, everything loose. So even in these heat races, since it's all just practice racing, basically, getting a feel for the car before the main race, we'll really get to see exactly what we're going to expect here in the main. For the grid lineup, Jordan Gage looks like a newer face here from what I'm seeing. He's taking the pole here on this one of 2 heat races. Alongside him will be Sean Crossick in P number 2. Second row will be Edward Farnes, newcomer to this league, as we notated in the street stock race. And alongside him in 4th place will be Jonathan Wiley. Third row, Steve Miller in the 80 machine will be alongside Mr. Trevor Williams in the 78. And the lone spot there in position number 7 will be Kevin Robinson in the 60 car.
Yes, again, a lot of fast drivers are in the field tonight. We do have a higher car count than what we did in the dirt street stock. Should pose for some great racing action. Some of the drivers that we see here tonight are here, just crawled out of their dirt street stock and crawled right into the cockpit of these big block modifieds to race. So you will be hearing us mention names that sound familiar. There's a good reason for that, is because you just heard us call the shots and all the racing action as they were driving their dirt street stocks. Again, going to be very what these setups are, and with the weight jacking that these drivers and these crews put in these cars will three-wheel it around these corners. That means that left front is going to be way in the air as they go through these corners, and that right rear is going to dig and be way soft, and it's going to dig and drag way low going through the corner to try to get as much grip and bite through the corner and off the corner as possible and make these things really handle. So the pace truck is pulling in. These cars are pulling tight. The 13 of Gage is leading us to the green flag. Green flag flies. Racing is underway. Looks like the 1S of Crossick got into the wall a little bit there, allowing the 21 of Eddie Farnes, who we just seen in the dirt street stocks finish runner-up, take up that second spot.
Yeah, these cars have a lot of power, so when you get on it too quick, these cars will jump out of line, not expected. And so that bit Sean there on the outside wall, not even entering turn one, really. Looks like most of them are single-filed early out. It's only 8 laps in this race, so it's a practice race. They're going to get a good feel for everything. Speaking of that setup you were talking about, decent practice. Steve Miller was literally driving around the track on 2 wheels. As it looks like at the back of the field there, we got a little incident there. Single car, Trevor Williams upside down exiting turn 4. Looks like he's going to get a back rolling. Nobody else affected. There is no caution in these races, by the way, the heat races, that is. So just keep on going. First one to the line wins it. Looks like he's not going to affect anybody else at this time either. He's got a good space between him and the leader. So the show will go on here. Exiting turn 2 here. Jordan Gage leading the field.
Yeah, as you had stated, there is no cautions in this one here. The good thing is there's a couple things out of that. The 78, Trevor Williams did get the car back on all 4 wheels, which is a plus side, and he did get it going again. So that tells you one thing: 1, no other cars are going to be affected. The race keeps going on. 2, he kind of gets a little bit of feedback on some possible setup changes he needs to make before these cars hit the track for the A main race tonight. As it looks like Gage is really stretching it out, which is no surprise because Gage was our quick time driver for tonight's event, and he's showing nothing less as he's stretching out that lead over the 1S of Crossick. Now has taken over that second spot and has put at least a 2-car length gap in between himself and Eddie Farnes.
I was just going to notate that Steve Miller and Jonathan Wiley were really getting at it, and then right before I was going to say something, they actually made some contacts on each other out. Didn't lose any positions, it looked like. No harm, no foul, just hurt themselves, really. Close side-by-side racing the whole way through up until that turn 3 on lap 6. Looks like we're going to be taking the white flag this time by, as you notated, Jordan Gage. Just really fast short-run car, it looks like, so far. No problem here entering the final 2 corners. Rounding out your top 3 in a close 3rd place, Edward Farnes.
Yeah, and we were on board with Eddie Farnes on that final lap there as he was trying to chase down the 1S of Crossick with some onboard telemetry there, and it looks like he is not shying away from really slinging it down into that low line there as he was trying to gain as much as what he could on Crossick to try to take over that second spot. It's good to see that his driving style is the exact same. He left nothing to be ashamed of out there on the track in the dirt street stocks, finished in second place. Did everything he could to try to give Zach Burnett a run for his money for that top spot. It's good to make a mention that Eddie Farnes is new. This is his first week in racing here at Over the Limits, and he's come in making a name for himself, to say the least, picking up some victories yesterday, and again finishing runner-up in the dirt street stock racing event earlier this evening. So again, that is Mr. Eddie Farnes in that 21 machine. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what he can and can't do leading up to that A main.
Before I go over the grid for this race, it always blows my mind to see these setups. Like, the cars are just running pace laps right now on 3 wheels, the right front or left front not even touching the ground. Pretty impressive what kind of technical setups they make to get these cars to rotate around these sharp corners. But to set the lineup for the second heat race here, Jack Reitz, first place. Alongside him will be Jonathan Atkins, P number 2 in the 17 car. Third place looks like it's going to be Justin Pentecoff. Alongside him is going to be Christopher Canese there in the 69 car. For the row number 3, Ron Wiley, and then on the outside of him will be Matthew Matundo. And the last car in the field will be Cody Heathcock, sole car on lane number 4.
And you know what? That may not be that bad of a spot to be starting either, is that lone spot there in the back. We've seen what happened on the start. You had made mention that these cars do have a lot of power. You get on them too soon, too hard, and they're going to let you know as that pace truck is going down. The 777 of Reitz is leading us. As you see those cars pull hard right, we have a car into the wall, front tires up off the ground.
Two cars rolling over here. 3 cars total in that incident. Same exact deal as the first race. Just turn 3. Cars are, they definitely need some work there before the main race here. It looks like everyone else, for the most part, got back going, but that was a pretty intense first lap.
That was an intense first lap and an intense start, to say the least. Looks like the 17 and the 717 got the worst end of that one. That was the 17 that jumped on the loud pedal, and it let them know that it was loud as it pulled to the right, and that car just drove right up the wall, causing a whole whop of mess. But again, that's why these heat races are ran like this. Not only do these heat races set the starting grid for the A main, but it gives these drivers one last chance to try to fine-tune those setups. If something doesn't seem right, doesn't feel right, this is their chance to see how it feels in racing conditions and go and change it before they hit the track for that A main.
Coming up with 4 laps to go in this heat, Justin Pentecoff putting a lot of pressure on Christopher Canese in the 69 for the second position, as of course the leader there of Jack Reitz is pulling away. Really fun battle to watch though for second place here. 1 low, 1 high, mid lane. Just kind of a little preview of what we're going to expect here for the main race, definitely for sure. Everybody else is single file for the most part. Plenty of space, so just that's the only real position up for grabs here entering the final couple laps here in this heat.
And Pentecoff does complete that pass on Canese there, but again, those were the 2 lines that we had talked about were going to be strong, and they were going to be strong early on, was going to be that mid line and that high line. And that's exactly what those 2 drivers were running. One was running that mid, one was running that high line, but it was Pentecoff in the end that does prevail over Canese to take over that second spot. Canese now falls back into that 3rd spot, but no pressure from behind.
He's running a little bit lower line than Jack Reitz is entering the final lap here. Justin's car is solely driving on that right rear suspension. He is digging that right rear. Looks like Jack Reitz no problem here entering turn 3. Just got to run a smooth, solid last corner here to solidify P number 2 in the main race, as he sure does. Jack Reitz takes first position. Fought alongside, or second place will be Justin Pentecoff. In the top 3, Christopher Canese.
So again, excellent heat race as Jonathan Atkins and Ron Wiley will round out your top 5 in this heat race number 2. So again, that sets up your starting order. So the finishing results from heat 1 are going to be your inside lane for your A main. The heat results from heat number 2 will be your outside starting order. Should be a fun race. Again, like you had stated, Jeremy, we were watching the 25 of Pentecoff and the 69 of Canese really start duking it out there, and you've seen 2 distinct different lines. One was running mid, one was running high. Passes were made, but the passes were being made clean. And then we seen Knies kind of switch it out and try to run another line, trying to feel out to see where that speed could be as we get ready to take the starting lineup in the grid for the A main.
Yeah, because I see some of the cars gridding just a little late, make some last-minute tweaks here to their cars before gridding for the main race here. I expect some of those issues to be resolved, and I really feel like we're going to see some good side-by-side here for this main event of the evening here in the Super Big Block Modifieds. To take you through the grid lineup here as the pace truck does roll off the start-finish line. First row, Jordan Gage, fastest all the way around today, practice qualifying, even in the heat race. Alongside him will be Jack Reitz in P number 2 in the 777 machine. Row number 2, Sean Krosick, number 1 car, followed alongside the Justin Pentakoff from the 25. Row number 3, Edward Farnes, the newbie for this league. Alongside him on 6th place will be Christopher Knies. Row number 4, Kevin Robinson in the 60. Next to him on the high side will be Jonathan Atkins in 8th place. Row number 5, Steve Miller, number 80. Alongside him will be Ron Wiley in the 11 car. Row number 6 will be Jonathan Wiley in the 116. Next to him is Cody Heathcock in the 194. 17. That rounds out your field for this evening as we got less than 1 lap to go before we go green.
Yeah, so it is going to be some good racing action here as we get ready to start. Some of those drivers that we had mentioned, being the 717 and the 78, did have some issues in their heat races, and that is why they are back there. But again, we got 35 laps here at Williams Grove, and as we've seen in the dirt street stocks, that is plenty of time to make some moves and get yourself in position before that white and black checkered flag wave. Leading the pack down. Green flag flies, cars are off, and they have a much cleaner start than what they did in Heat 2, keeping them off the wall as they both go flying off into. We do have a spin going into turn 1.
Oh, massive hit there. Edward shot up in the air. I don't know who hit him, but he took a hard pounding in his driver's side. Turn number 2, Cody Heathcock, and Edward there is not looking too good to start. They're going to have to get their cars towed. That's going to put it into their contending. Actually, no. If they can get rolled over in time and get going, like I said, there's no, in the first race, there's no caution laps that are counted. So they might be able to get back up and running in contention still for the lead lap anyways. That's a tough start for them too.
Yes, not the start that the 21 of Eddie Farnes wanted to have, especially after the showing that he had in the dirt street stocks. I know he was coming into this one here with high hopes, especially after the way that the first race here went, and his heat race was good as well. So not the start that he quite wanted to have. But we do get to see, we didn't get to see it in the dirt street stocks due to being under 10 laps, so iRacing did force a single file restart. But you will get to see what you had mentioned and talked about earlier in the previous broadcast, Jeremy, which is known as a Delaware start. You are going to get to see the 13 of Gage start on the front row by himself, and you will see the 777 and the 1S starting on the second row. So that will be your second and third place drivers. Second place will get to choose what lane that they want to start in, either the inside or the outside, and that will be the 777 of Reitz will get that choice.
It looks like the two turtles in that incident will not be able to make the field in time to be, so they will be out of contention, unfortunately, for tonight. Such an unfortunate circumstance on lap number 1. I know they put a lot of practice and time onto these setups, and for them to re-out on lap 1 is just devastating, especially for them too. Edward trying to put a good showing on for his first race especially, and it's just unfortunate there. Pace truck is in, green flag is out, number 13 of Mr. Gage there is going to take a sole lead into turn 1. Nice restart there as he goes side by side here for second on back.
Yes, there is a tough battle for second place as you see the 1S of Sean Krosick and the 777 of Reitz are side by side, but it does look like that low line is going to prevail with Krosick taking that, and now he's going to set his target and his sights on the 13 of Gage. But the 777 has not had enough of the 1S as he battles back on that high side. This is exactly what we were talking about, Jeremy. Multiple lanes early on in this race, and depending on your setup and your driving style, you're going to see passes on the low side, you're going to see passes in the middle, and you're going to see passes on the high side.
Yep. It looks like most of the cars right now are preferring to lower the middle lane, except for your race leader. He just decides that he's going to make his own lane there right against the tires, and especially in turn 4, right up against that wall. Caution is out again. Let's see if we can find out where. Oh, hard hit, 78, hitting you number 11 there in middle turn 3 and 4. Rolls over the 11. It looks like the 11 had spun out, self-spin, and it caused the 78 to hit him. Unfortunately, again, looks like they're both able to roll off this time, though, so we'll see how much damage the 11 has, see if we can come in and get a. I do believe they have a fast repair, if I'm not mistaken, so he should be able to get out there no problem.
Yes, they do have a fast repair. The damage on that 11K does look pretty substantial. There's a lot of, but yeah, there does look like it looks like he gets himself stuck on that tire as he tried to make that turn. That's going to be unfortunate if he can't get himself off that. He is going to have to get a tow. iRacing tows. Apparently, iRacing hires the slowest tow drivers ever. And that takes time, as the 21 had seen that from the previous one. The good news is, though, is this does allow the 21 to rejoin the racing after that quick repair use. He will rejoin the racing field and be back in racing action.
And it looks like admins have allowed 21 of Edward and 194 of Cody to resume the lead lap. 194 is passing everyone right now to take essentially a NASCAR version of the Lucky Dog. That's kind of cool to see. He's only one. He's got to make up one more lap here before a green flag. That is awesome to see the whole field ready for contention. There, getting off the tire so you can go to the pit road to get that fast repair taken care of. That was very nice of the 116 to do so.
And you had mentioned about the allowing the drivers to get back on there. That is one thing. Now, the admins and everybody here at Over the Limit Racing League, they do limit the amount of fast repairs these drivers have. So just because you are allowed to get back on the lead lap for racing contention doesn't mean that people go out there and drive like crazy banshees. These drivers still do drive smart, but it is like you had internet issues. We do have lag issues. We do have equipment issues from time to time, being either PC or wheel. So it's nice to see the admins allow the drivers, as long as they can utilize that quick repair, to get back on the lead lap and back in racing contention again.
Yeah, very fortunate for them too. Very awesome to see. Applaud the admins there, because you don't see that too often, but massive respect, especially on the dirt series. Like, it's just all for fun, at the end of the day. So good to see them back up and running, especially for Edward. He can now kind of show off what his skills are and his block modifieds as they go back to green flag. Gage with another awesome start to this restart here, side by side, the rest on back.
Yeah, as again, the 1S of Krosick and the 777 are still duking it out, but Krosick is going to prevail on that one.
Massive hit midfield. They hit the opening wall on the outside. Sorry to cut in, but massive damage to the 69. I think he towered the blue walk across over the backstretch. Massive wreck.
And unfortunately, it looks like the 21 is also involved in that. We were just talking about it. I don't know. Maybe we jinxed him. But Eddie had just gotten back on the lead lap after use of his quick repair. And unfortunately enough, as you can tell by the carnage that's on the screen, was involved in that most recent incident there with the 69 of Conice. So again, an unfortunate break again. It just seems like Farnes cannot get a break in this series tonight at this track.
Yeah, just going over the replay on my end here, the 21 just clipped the 69's nose right up on the exit of turn 2. Kicked his car wide at the most unfortunate position on the track, which is that opening at the backstretch. And he just annihilated that wall. And with iRacing, like you mentioned earlier, with the netcode issues, that 69 should have not taken off 5 stories tall, but he sure as hell did. He launched. That car is absolutely done. That's quite impressive. And on top of that, his car landed on top of that really thin wall. So good thing it's a virtual car, because in real life, that I don't know if he would have been able to get out of that vehicle. That's just insanity of a wreck. But yeah, 21, unfortunate there again. Kind of his own doing this time, but we're really hoping to see if he can make a run after with that admin allowing him to get back on the lead lap. But super unfortunate.
Now, this is an interesting turn of events. It looks like the 13 of Justin Gage is coming down pit road, which is not something you typically see in these dirt cars. Usually when you have these dirt cars, those tires are the set of tires you have unless you have a puncture. I don't know if maybe he got a little bit of damage at some point in time. Maybe he made some minor setup tweak or adjustment on there going down pit road. But it definitely a strange turn of events seeing the leader come down pit road here in the big block modifieds.
He's actually waiting on the outside of turn, blending into the field. Not entirely sure what's going on there. We'll have to get back with you on that one. But it looks like he is resuming first place, though. So whatever was going on there, they allowed him to come down pit road without losing a position, which is, again, applaud the admin for allowing things like this to happen. It's online racing at the end of the day, so a little bit of leeway given here for sure. Looks like Pace Truck's gonna be pulling down this time. Going back to the restart, let's see if Gage can get another awesome reel to his left side by side.
Now we're on board right now with the 777 of Reitz. When watching him, I was wanting to see a line of 3 drivers duking it out for position. So again, a lot of racing action just in this short TV frame here.
Yeah, as we noticed in the second heat race, Justin has a pretty decent long run car. I did notice that he was starting to kind of held with the pack and then just started pulling away on some of the cars late in that run. Let's see if that's going to hold true in this rest of this main race. But other than that, a couple of close battles here, including second and third place. They're starting to get a little closer. Jack Reitz wants that second spot back.
Yeah, these two have been dicing it out and duking it out. About every restart is, again, Gage is starting to walk away a little bit, put a little bit more distance there. But again, you can see the 2 distinct lines. Gage is dedicated to that low line, while it looks like Krosick and Reitz have dedicated themselves to that high line. But they've been duking it out quite a bit. Now, we were talking about the battle back there for 4th between the 17 and the 25. That now has kind of spaced out a little bit, and the 17 has put a little distance now on the 25 at Pentecoff. Now, one thing is in that heat race, we really didn't get a chance to see what the 17 of Atkins really had to offer at this track in these cars. He was involved in that early race start incident, driving up the wall that's ended up doing a lot of damage and catastrophic damage to his car. So again, this is the first real action we've seen him be able to take to see what he really has to bring to the table.
And as you're talking there, the 69 Christopher Canese actually pulled off the track. Too much damage. His car is, even after that fast repair, it is done. Sean Krosick, surprisingly, catching up to Mr. Gage here, but he's still running the bottom. He's defying anything that we are all talking about with that line moving up. That line is slick down there, and Jordan just says, you know what, this is my line, I'm sticking to it. But it is allowing Sean to catch up to him a little bit as he runs right up against that wall. So complete polar opposites as far as their racing lines here. Looks like Jordan kind of figured that out. Now is running a little bit higher here to try to balance out Sean. As he does, he gets a really good exit off that second corner there. But he goes back and does more of a diamond slide entering turn 3, and it kind of hurt his performance there. Sean is going to be right up to him here shortly if he keeps that up.
Yeah, it looks like Gage is just he's searching that track for speed as, again, he goes in low there and kind of drifts up to that midline And this is just allowing Krosick to catch up. Krosick is dedicated to that high side, and he's getting that speed. Is it 78? Oh, 78 collects the leaders. Massive pile up.
That is really unfortunate. Again, something out of their control happens, and it just collects the top 3. That is massive implications here for them 3. Ah, man, that's tough to see. I mean, they still got, what is it, about 17 laps to go here when they go back to the green flag, but I want to know what that damage is going to look like for the top 3 here, especially for the leader, man. He stuffed it into the 78's door there, so that's just, you hate to see that kind of thing.
Yes, 13 is coming down pit road. Now, the 1S of Krosick must not feel that his damage is that bad. He did elect to stay out. Now, cosmetically looking at that car, doesn't look as though the damage is too significant. He didn't make as hard of a hit on the 78 as the 13 of Gage did. Gage was definitely missing a lot of front nose and had to come down to get that repaired. So, again, this is going to shake up and jumble up our standings as it sits right now. That damage could play a factor, and we know the 13 is going to come out using a quick repair. He's going to come out with a new machine, whereas that 1S of Krosick and that 777 could be a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, going back and looking at that replay, the Krosick got tangled up with his left front there with Jordan Gage. The left front tire looks a little off. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, you don't use that wheel too much anyway, so that's probably part of his mindset is, it's going to be up in the air anyways in the corner, so who cares, right? So we'll see how it feels for him. But that's going to set the field up kind of backwards here, because the faster cars are in the back now, and then the top cars, or the cars in the mid-pack, all of a sudden in the front there. Edward sitting P2. That's what it looks like so far, which is, he's got both fast repairs taken care of. They're thrown away. It's just, had no issues. Pace correctors down. Green flag, a little bit more of a scattered restart there than what we're typically used to seeing with these guys. Looks like the 17 is going to just, Atkins going to take a nice solid few car length lead over second place now of Edward.
So now, in typical fashion of Jonathan Atkins, we've seen him in the past. We've seen him, interviewed him in Victory Lane. And typically he sets a car up and he has a very strong short run car. So these cautions are actually playing into his car setups quite a bit. But if we do get a long green flag run, I'm wondering how much he's going to be able to stretch it out. Is that 21 of Eddie Farnes is holding down that second spot there. And again, strange turn of events with the way that everything has worked out, and the 21 now finds himself in that P2.
Yeah, looks like Krosick's trying to make a run here. He's in 5th place. He's putting a lot of pressure on Pentecoff here for 4th. Curious to see if he's going to be able to make up most of his ground anyways. It's really tough to pass here. As struggling to get around Pentecoff, even this, and the 60 kind of slows him up there with a really wicked slide in turn 1. I don't think he has enough time to get back up to the spot where he was running the whole race. Atkins seemed to pulling away just a little bit from Farnes, but Farnes, man, massive wreck on that second wreck, using the second fast repair, using towing, all that and above, admin help. He's running P2.
What a power move by Krosick going into that turn. He drove it down below the 25. We were on board with the 25 of Pentecoff, and he drove it down below the 25 of Pentecoff and below the 60 of Robinson to pass 2 cars in one corner to take up that 3rd spot. So Krosick, again, is a man on a mission, and following close behind as we just see him pass the 25 of Pentecoff now is none other than the 13 of Justin Gage as he's trying to make his way back up to the front.
I feel like he's trying to prove me wrong, man. That was like power move. That was such a powerful move. 2 cars in one corner at this track is nearly impossible. Sean found a way. Now he's got open track. He's going to try to hunt down these 2 leaders here with just about 9 laps to go at the start-finish line.
9 laps to go, and he's going to try to hunt him down. He's got a little bit of work ahead of him to try to chase down the 21 of Farnes and the 17 of Atkins. But also on his coattail is the 13 of Gage, and we know Gage is fast. Gage did set quick time, did win his heat, so we know he knows how to wheel these cars around this track. So not only does Krosick have to focus forward and hit his marks, but he also has to make sure he keeps that 13 of Gage in his rearview mirror.
Gage is coming, man. He's got such an awesome car on that bottom, especially in the middle of the corner. His car just slides perfectly, gives him a nice run off the exit. It's really impressive to watch here. There's no grip down there, and he's somehow finding every grip possible. Get that car turning. As he's actually to the back bumper of Krosick here. A little bit of a miscue there entering turn 1, really slides it up. Almost collects Sean on that, but he has to have to regroup and see if he can get back to that third spot.
As those two duke it out, we have the two front runners that are up there trying to duke it out, as well as the 17 of Atkins and the 21 of Farnes. Now, Farnes was closing in on it, but seemed like he collected a little bit of the wall going down the front stretch there and kind of slowed his momentum up there, but it did seem like he was trying to close in on the 17.
That he sure was, but they're kind of seeing a little bit of action here in the back here in the closing laps. We got Pentikoff running alongside Wiley here, side by side. Nope, as he has a big miscue there, Mr. Wiley does, and they're going to single file up from this point forward. But the 60 here, side by side as well. A little bit of contact and almost clips that outside wall where we saw earlier where the 69 launched himself in the air. And we got some contact. The 25 is wrecked, almost flips over. No caution yet between the 25 and the 60. Still green flag. Seems like they get it straightened out for the most part.
I am surprised there was no caution in that one there, as the 60 had to throw it in reverse to get that thing turned around, headed in the right direction. That's a miracle nonetheless that there was no yellow flag caution thrown on that incident there between the 25 of Pentikoff and the 60 of Robinson.
Lap and a half to go. Jonathan Atkins still race leader. Good 5 or 6 car length advantage over here over second place of Edward. Entering 2 laps to go at this point. He's got to hit his marks, man. Like he's there. He's done the hard work. Caught a little bit of fortune there with the leaders getting in that wreck with the 78, but nice to hit his marks and take this thing home.
Yeah, and it looks like again it's Krosick and Gage just can't stay away from each other. Those guys are duking it out side by side again, and this time Gage completes the pass on Krosick, powering it down on that low line, and then commits to the high side, and we got contact between Krosick and Gage as they go through turns 1 and 2.
He did not want to give that spot up. Here we go. Gage running really hard on the inside where he's preferred the whole time, entering the final stretch here, side by side.
Oh!
Contact. Gage takes top 3.
That was a hard-fought finish on that one right there. He did not, and by he, I mean Krosick, did not want to give that one up, but both of those drivers had been battling out 2 completely separate lines, and what a heck of a finish on that one there. Again, Jonathan Atkins, we didn't get a chance to see what he had to offer, and apparently he had a lot to offer as he takes that top spot. Eddie Farnes, man, bridesmaid yet again, twice tonight, finishes that runner-up position, but there's nothing wrong with that. This is not Talladega Nights. It's not Ricky Bobby's second place. It's not the first loser. That was a hard-fought battle. Persevered, came through with a lot of action there, and Justin Gage comes in with that final top 3 position with that hard-fought battle between himself and Sean Krosick.
And where did he come from? He was like, once Krosick got around for the top 3 spot, I thought it was over there, but Gage, I don't know, he made power moves himself and just dominated his way back to the top 3. That was really impressive to watch. Still blown away by Edward, seeing him in P number 2. I'm sure he feels like that's a win after everything he just came through to get to that top or second spot rather. I'm sure like he's feeling this is a victory all in itself.
And I would have to agree with you on that. With everything that went on, I would have to say the same thing with Atkins. Of course, being in first place is a victory, but again, you got to kind of wonder after that late race incident with the leaders. We know that the 13 at Gage did go in and use one of his quick repairs and get that thing fixed. We know that Krosick did not. Could that have possibly cost him that top 3 finishing position there, being beat out by Gage? Some things we just may never know. It's a what-if situation. But at that point in time, you got to gamble with it. You got to make a call, and you got to make a judgment call fast. You don't got a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, initially it was a great call. It put him a few car lengths ahead of everyone else that was running up front after that wreck. And, shot in the dark, see what happens. And it worked initially, but Gage just super impressive on that inside line. Just too tough to tame on there, so to speak. And last lap or two just could not hold off Gage.
Yeah, Gage definitely had that low line set up in that big block modified. One of the few drivers that could actually get it hooking up. Another driver that we didn't mention a lot in this race, we mentioned there towards the tail end, was that of the 116 of Jonathan Wiley. He was another driver that I was watching and did see was also trying to get that bottom lane hooking up, but I just don't think he was getting it hooked up as well as what Gage was. Gage was putting on a show on that low line. Definitely for sure. So again, we are going to go through our finishing results for tonight's A main event in the Super DIRTcar Big Block Modified Series.
Jonathan Atkins takes P number 1. Edward Farnes is second place. Jordan Gage, top 3. Sean Krosick, 4th place. And round out your top 5 will be Jack Reitz. They're on back 6th place, Jonathan Wiley. 7th place, Justin Pentikoff. 8th place, Kevin Robinson. 9th place, Ron Wiley. And to complete the top 10, Matthew Matundo. 11th place, Trevor Williams. 12th is Christopher Canese. 13th would be Cody Heathcock. And to round out the field would be Steve Miller and the 80 Machine. Do look like we have the race winner, Mr. Jonathan, available here. Jonathan, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Jonathan, man, need to buy a scratch off after this one. Looks like you had nothing really for the top 3, and then some series of unfortunate events for them occurred, and they gave you the floor, and you were able to actually maintain for the most part and hold off the field. What was going through your head when you saw that wreck?
About need new underwear because I almost got in it myself, but managed to miss it and knew, clean air is king here. You can't. The track's really wide enough for 2 cars, so you get out front. It's hard to make a pass, so I just had to get out and hit my marks.
Yeah, it looked like most of the cars were around the high line, minus a couple cars there. How was that track handling? I expected a lot of high groove, but it looks like some of the cars are able to maintain the midline. How was your car overall?
Yeah, I'd kind of set mine up to run the bottom, and early on it went away. I couldn't really hang the wet down at the bottom good enough to run down there, so I moved up and kind of ran when they were running, and right before that caution came out, I felt like I was maintaining with them, but definitely didn't have anything for Jordan. He was class of the field, so.
That he was putting on quite the show there. And then again, that's part of racing though, that turn of events there that ended up collecting the leaders on that. And that was one thing that Jeremy and I were talking about. We've interviewed you before race victories, so we know the abilities that you do have, and that was one thing we were talking about was in the heat race. We really didn't get a chance to see what you had to showcase. Your start of the heat race, probably safe bet to say, was not the type of start that you wanted on that. Kind of walk us through what happened at the start of the heat race there.
Yeah, these things are harder to drive under caution than they are to drive under green. And as soon as I stabbed the throttle, it just went dead right, and right front went up over the wall, and I looked like a jackass. But it's easy to do.
That it was. You were not the only one that we seen did that, do that, throughout the night. But it was, you were a dark horse coming in here, a wild card, so to speak, because again, we didn't get to see what you had to showcase. And lo and behold, with the way that Lady Luck kind of played her cards and dealt your hand, it puts you out front with the one there. What was your mindset trying to stay focused to just try to bring this win home?
I just counted down the laps, and I knew he'd race me clean if he got to me. I think he screwed up with 3 or 4 laps to go there and gave me a little breathing room. But we raced each other clean, and it was going to work out how it worked out. Just right place, right time, I guess.
Right place, right time. That is the understatement of the century, to say the least. Again, congratulations on your win here in the Big Block Modifieds. Is there anybody you'd like to take a shout out to? Anybody you'd like to say thanks?
Yeah, Dirty South Motorsports, Dirt Slinger Wraps, Ghost Race Cars, Little Indy RC Speedway, and my smoking hot wife.
That has got to be by far one of the best thank yous on that one there. I have not heard a smoking hot wife one before, but I tell you what, that definitely put a smile on my face and made me chuckle. I like that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is Jonathan Atkins. That is your race winner tonight in the Super DIRTcar Big Block Modified event here at the Grove. Again, congratulations to you. Go and celebrate with your DSM teammates. Go and celebrate with your sponsors, and as you put it, your smoking hot wife as well. So congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Volusia.
Yep, thanks, buddy.
All right, so looks like actually we got Eddie here as well, finishing in second place. Eddie, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Eddie, what was going on there? Both faster pairs. A crazy wreck there on the backstretch where he sent the 69 skyscrapering over the backstretch. Both faster pairs. I thought you were done, and then with the misfortune midway through the race with the top three, you found somehow, some way, found yourself in second place in that. What was going through your mind whenever that opportunity presented itself to you?
He goes, I think I just took the lead. I think now we're 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. And I was like, yeah. Somehow we just went from 6th to 3rd, and I didn't even see what happened with the leaders, but luckily we saw it earlier enough, and the caution came out right before we got to him, and we were able to miss it, and yeah, worked out in our favor.
That is a crazy way to start your career off at this league, is to have that kind of event where back and forth wrecks and everything, even the admin's allowed to get you back up on the lead lap, and that was just you can't have a much more crazy of a race, especially with only being 35 laps. You were literally in every position on the track multiple times. Overall, though, how was the car feeling?
It was all right. We kind of threw something at it in the heat race, and it worked. And then I screwed up and gave I think it was Sean second, but we had the feature set up already, and it felt really good. Once we moved that top line, there was a little bit of grip right up against the wall. You had to be careful, though, because that backstretch opening. But if you hit it right, you were going to be quick. And I actually think I started catching Jonathan, but I hit the wall off of 4, and I did. I mean, I'll take 1 and 2 for the team any day, so I'm not too upset about it.
And nor would I, or anybody else for that matter. Again, it's looks like it is your bridesmaids' day here as we're interviewing you again for second place. But again, as I had made mention in the broadcast, this isn't Talladega Nights, and you're not Ricky Bobby, so second place is not the first loser. It was definitely a hard-fought battle all the way through. What was going through your mind, knowing that after you had already used a fast repair, you were back out there on the track, you were able to get back on that lead lap again. The admins gave you the wave around, so you were sitting good. And that second incident happened, and it was painful to watch you try to limp that back into pits. What went through your mind the second that incident took place?
Yeah, my spotter told me I was clear. And I guess I shouldn't learn to listen to it. I should turn that off as well, because I turned my mirror off. He said I was clear. I moved up, and obviously I wasn't clear because 69 was there, and I got turned head on into that wall. And luckily, not like the first incident where we rolled over trying to get the car back going, but we were able to drive this one to the pits and got the fast repair. And then it was just trying to be careful, avoid everything else that happened. And I think we got into it with Ron, who's another teammate of mine, and luckily it didn't hurt the car. So it was playing it safe, and until we got to the end, then we just had to go for it.
I tell you what, playing it safe and that safe strategy paid off for you in the end, for sure. And obviously for your DSM teammate as well with Atkins. Again, it's 2 DSM teammates in the top 3. for the second straight race here at the Grove. Did you feel that you had anything for Atkins coming up on those closing laps? And what was the strategy going to be if you could close in on him, knowing that he is a teammate and knowing the way you guys race each other clean? What was going to be your strategy to try to take that top spot?
I feel like we closed the gap a little bit once I found that little bit of that strip of grip up on the top. I think we closed it a little bit, but I wasn't going to do anything stupid. If we got to him, we got to him. We were going to race for it. And I was going to had to go to the bottom because he was running the top. I wasn't going to pull a slider or do anything to screw us both out of a top three. So, all in all, it was really if I was there, I was there, and if not, like I said already, I'll take second to a teammate any day. And the biggest thing, I was watching the relative, and all I see was Jordan coming. So I just knew that race needed to end really fast.
And he was coming nonetheless, absolutely. It's, again, you guys put on a heck of a show. Sometimes that's the way the cards fall. They fall in your favor. Sometimes they don't fall in your favor. They were not playing well for you at the start of the race, but Lady Luck decided to change your luck and change your hand there at the end. And put both you and your teammate Jonathan Atkins in a position to finish 1-2. So again, congratulations on that second place finish, and congratulations on the top 2 for DSM and Dirty South Motorsports and all the drivers that are over there. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out to? Anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
Yeah, same as last time. Mountain View Plumbing, D-Way Pro Wrestling, McCord Trucking, all my real life sponsors, and my Dirty South Motorsports teammates. Dirt Slinger Raps, because he complains every time we don't say something, so I'll say something. Like I said, Dirt Slinger Raps, they do all the raps for our team, and they do an amazing job, so I'm loving the new rap I got on there. And like I said already, I joined the late in this one, and I'm just glad you guys let me in, and happy to be having fun.
We are happy to have you here and happy to watch all the race in action. So again, congratulations on your second place finish for tonight here at the Grove. It's time to put this track behind us and get ready for next week's racing action at Volusia. So again, congratulations. Go celebrate with everybody, and we'll see you next week at Volusia.
Sounds good. Thank you again.
And then we got Jordan patiently waiting here. Jordan, got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Man, you had the car to beat there in that main race. Dominant performance. The only car running the inside, and I thought that lane would be non-existent halfway through that race. Absolutely proved me wrong. And then midway through that race, it just completely turned around to the negative side for you. Tell us, entering that corner when you saw the 7-8, what was going through your mind?
I was just trying to follow him. I mean, I was going to run the top, and that way I had a little bit more room to measure with, and I saw he was running it pretty good, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just follow him for one corner, and, well, he got up in the wall and whatnot, and I checked up, and Sean, I think it was pretty close to me, so we all kind of got grouped up there. I mean, it's racing. I mean, you got to deal with lap cars, and they're never fun to drive with, but we just didn't have no luck fall our way tonight. I mean, I thought it was going to be a pretty good night, sweeping qualifying, and won the heat by a good margin. I figured in the future we'd have a pretty good showing, but we made it work. I mean, we drove the car back up to third. I think if we would have had 5 more laps, we would have been sitting pretty good to race with Eddie and Atkins. So, but there's always next week.
Oh, for sure, yeah. After that final restart there with the long green flag run, like, you were making some power moves. You were showing your resilience a little bit. You wanted to get back up there and contend for that win still. I think at one point you passed 4th and 5th place. No, 4th and 3rd place within like one set of corners. Really making some power moves. It's just ran out of time there. I think I would agree with you about 5 more laps or so. You would have it would got really close up to the leaders. How was the car though, overall? Like the track, I expected a lot different from the track. Especially from the street stocks, but you definitely proved me wrong on the inside line there. What was the difference there to holding the inside line?
You just got to slow up a lot. I mean, when I went back and had to work my way back up, I was getting kind of scared going into one because I was slowing up quite a bit. I mean, it was almost like a stop and go deal, and I was hoping someone behind me wasn't gonna come up and tag me, and then I'd have to go to the back again. But everyone else was running the top, so I mean, just go to the bottom. That's where they weren't to pass them. And yeah, like passing those two cars, I mean, they were all fighting for the top and just snuck down around the bottom. You just got to slow it up and keep it down there.
And slow it up and keep it down there. You did. I have to apologize to you. I had been saying Justin this entire race broadcast. For whatever reason, I was mixing Justin Pentecoff and Jordan Gage together, and I created my own little person called Justin Gage. So I will apologize if you go back and watch that. I will correct it now, Jordan. You guys, you put on a heck of a show. Like you had stated, you had dominated qualifying, putting down quick time. Your heat race was a phenomenal showing right there, and instantly out of the box with the space that you won that heat race on. Jeremy and I up here calling the shots. We knew that the 13 was going to be a contender for that win. And you did. You proved us wrong big time. We did not expect the low line to be that powerful with somebody behind the wheel like yourself doing it. Like Jeremy said, I mean, there was times where you went in and you were passing multiple cars going down low. I believe it was fifth and fourth place that you ended up passing, which brought you right up to the tail end of the Crossick there. Did you have every bit of confidence knowing that your car was going to stick down there? Or were you just hoping that it was going to, knowing that time was running out?
Yeah, I had a lot of confidence in the car. Like lap 20 through 30, I think it was. I was really punching myself because I couldn't enter turn one for nothing, and then I started running that diamond line in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. I just realized I had to enter uh way earlier than I thought I had to. I don't run this track a whole lot, so kind of learning everything again there for a second. But yeah, once we found out our line, those last 5 to 7 laps, I mean, we were cooking with some momentum there, and yeah, just needed a 40 lap feature instead of a 35. But our
That later race incidents with the 78 there, you did elect to come in and pit and utilize one of those quick repairs. And by the looks of it, it looks like that might have been probably the safer option and call there, giving yourself enough time to utilize the fixed machine and hardware there to work your way back up. You and the 1S of Sean Crossick, though, I mean, you guys were putting on one hell of a show up there. You guys weren't leaving anything to chance either. I mean, you guys were beating and banging, pushing back and forth. It was a hard fought battle all the way down. Did you know coming up to that, with as much as you guys had been fighting all race long and he had been chasing you, did you know as you were working up to third place there, knowing laps were coming down, did you have a feeling that it was going to be a knockout, drag out battle back and forth to try to claim that third spot?
Oh, for sure. I mean, no one shows up to finish second or third. Everyone shows up to win. So yeah, Sean, I'm pretty sure he might be in the. He had a hell of a car tonight, and he was a tough competitor. So I got into him a little bit on the front stretch coming to the checkered, and I apologize for that. I thought I had him cleared, but apparently not. I mean, I got contact point. I didn't feel anything, but yeah, overall, Sean was really fast. Eddie and Atkins were really fast. So I know once I got out there, it wasn't gonna be like taking candy from a baby. I knew I was gonna have to fight for it.
I tell you what, fight for it. You did. You got that third place. I mean, all you drivers did an excellent job racing tonight. And it wouldn't. You were not the first one there that thought that you would have been cleared as well. Uh, we've talked to a couple other drivers that said spotter said it was cleared, and there was just enough there that it didn't work out too well in their favor. But again, that's part of racing. That's part of dirt racing. That's why we love it. It's the excitement. It's the thrill, and it's the hell of a show that you guys all put on each and every week. So again, congratulations on your top three finish tonight. Is there anybody you'd like to take a shout out to? Anybody like to say thanks?
Oh yeah, for sure. I gotta thank my guys over at Octane Inc. Donnie and Corey spotted for me these last couple, I think 10 laps or so. So gotta thank those guys for spotting for me. I gotta thank Gage Farms, Gage Agronomy, Miller Family Trucking, 789 Designs, you guys for the broadcast, and Kenny over at Hyatt Racing for letting me join.
All right. And again, we appreciate you coming out here. We expect many great things, especially after the showing that you put on tonight. So we definitely expect to see that 13 car up there making moves, making passes, and proving Jeremy and myself wrong, saying that that low line is not going to be a factor, and then all of a sudden see that 13 car down there. That's what we expect to see. So again, congratulations on your third place finish. Go and celebrate with your team and everybody else, and we'll see you next week at Volusia.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Thank you.
I tell you what, Jeremy, that was a heck of a race. That was a heck of a finish. These guys do not disappoint, not one bit. Always put on a hell of a show. Always run clean, and even when there is contact, they do the sportsman thing and apologize. Hey, man, it's racing. That's just what happens in dirt racing. So again, excellent showing tonight. All in all, I would not be disappointed as a driver to finish anywhere. Again, this track is a difficult one. It's a tough one, and these drivers left nothing out there.
Yeah, the track is pretty difficult overall, and sometimes it doesn't produce great racing. But that big block modified race, that was quite entertaining. I haven't seen much of an entertaining race at this track in a while. So these guys definitely put on a good show. The sportsmanship level is through the roof with every single driver on this roster in this league. It's nice to see. It's a good change for some people. Yeah, like a couple miles or a couple hours down the road. Really fun track. Curious to know how they're going to run there. Looking forward to next week for sure.
As am I, my friend. Again, Volusia is always a good track, always puts on some good racing, and has a very unique layout to it as well, which always poses for some good passing opportunities and some good side-by-side racing. So, again, Volusia's always been a fun one of mine to race at and to watch. And now, not only do we get to watch, but you and I get to call all the action as well for the Dirt Street Stocks and the Super DIRTcar Big Block Modifieds next week. Again, I believe it is that time, Jeremy. As fun as what it has been, every good thing must come to an end, and we are going to end this on a good note. So again, for all of the sponsors that have helped out to get us to this point here, that's Hate Racing Unlimited, that is Dirt Slingers Ballistic, and the legend, the myth, the man, Mr. J. Stan, Jeremy Stanley, calling the shots here with me tonight. We enjoyed every second of it, and we look forward to spending time with you guys again next week. So as always, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you at the track.